Hello, encouragers. I'm Rebekah Scott, wife, mother of 4, author, and owner and designer of Rebekah Scott Designs. I'm here to encourage you, to make you feel the I can do this spirit each and every day of our awesome journeys to fulfill our many important roles. I believe we are fully equipped to execute, and I will provide as much knowledge, practices, and systems I can to help you understand just what I know you can do. Execute. We got this.
Hello, encouragers. Today I have a really fun guest with me. I have Denita Dinger back to talk to us about our kiddos and how important that they are in our life and how to treat them right. And that I always think we're not only their parents, but we're their guardians, and we have to release them eventually back into the world. So let's do the best job that we can. And she was downloaded so much by you guys, the listeners, that I thought it would be perfect to have her on to talk a little bit about the winter. We live here in the Midwest in South Dakota, and it can vary from 40 below to today where it's 40 above. And if you are anything like my family, eventually you develop cabin stink. So you're like, get them outside. Or even if you can't go outside because it's 40 below, what are some ideas that we can do inside the house? So if you will please welcome Denita Dinger.
Thank you, Rebekah. It's always an honor to be asked to be on podcasts, and especially honored to be asked to return. So thank you so much.
Oh, yes.
Yes. I'd like to start. This podcast is going to make a lot of you guys uncomfortable. So sit down and get comfortable before I make you uncomfortable, because I'm going to call you out on all those things we parents do, and we really, really need to focus on not doing them. Number one is that we forget that children are 100% washable. Just towel dry. Okay? I'm going to tell you to get over it. Children are going to make a mess. You had children, so own that. Own that fact. They're children. Nothing they do is going to be perfect. They are going to be messy. They are not going to be neat and tidy. So if you have been trying to keep your home neat and tidy this winter, by the time this airs, you are quite possibly on the verge of going nuts. So stop right there. Take a deep breath. Get over the mess. I am facing saying goodbye to my youngest child going to college in May. And let me just tell you what, I am going to miss those messes. I'm going to miss those piles. I'm going to miss it so badly. So embrace that mess. Love your children. Love their mess. Just make sure everything your child has access to is washable. There are really, really, really good products out there that are completely washable and will completely change the stress in your life. If you can have that attitude, no worries, it is going to wash off. That will change your life dramatically. One of my favorite products to use for coloring, I use a lot of colored vinegar, a lot of colored water, those kinds of things. Liquid watercolor from Discount School Supply is the best product. It washes out. I use in my play school, I use white towels for everything, for cleaning up everything. Those towels, in fact, I just posted on my Play Counts Facebook page a before and after photo of those towels completely colored. I mean, they're beautiful, all rainbow colored. They come out of my wash, pure white. I don't use bleach. It's not necessary. It comes right out. So that's number one. Just get over it. Remember that children are 100% washable, towel dry. Everything in your house, as long as you're using the correct materials with your children. You've got permanent markers tucked far, 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 far away, pens tucked far, far away. Everything's going to be washable. Number two, you are a parent, not an entertainer. Do not fall into that trap. Do not fall into that trap. Your children do not need to be entertained. In fact, they need to be bored. Children need to be bored. What comes out of boredom is many times genius. It's brilliant. It's confidence boosting. It's empowering. So your children can be bored. They do not need to be entertained. Do not entertain them with a screen. Do not entertain them with ideas of what to do. Let them be bored. I tell you this again and again and again. Let them be bored. Make sure they have materials to play with that are also boring. Materials that are passive. Materials that do not do anything unless your child actively makes them, actively uses their imagination to turn that material into whatever it is they're imagining. So no toys that have batteries and light up. That promotes just sitting and watching and being entertained. You want children to be active. You want them to be an active participant in play. So number 1, get over it. Number 2, you are not an entertainer. Number 3, it's not going to be perfect. You are not going to be perfect. Your child is not going to be perfect. So let them own their own techniques. So after they're bored and they discover an idea for what to do, even if it goes against every ounce of knowledge in your adult brain, let them try it. Even though you know it is going to flop and it is going to fail, let them try it, because there is value in failing. There is value in picking yourself up and trying it again.
Yes, perseverance.
There's value. Yep. There's value in knowing that your parent trusts you to try something new, because to your child, that's a new idea, right? So,
yes.
So remember, it's not going to be perfect. And with that comes number 4. There are many ways to do things right. Many, many, many ways to do things right. So try not to be over top of your children, correcting them all the time, all the time, all the time. One of my favorite stories with this is scissors. Children will figure out how to use scissors. They will figure all those things out. There's 2 things you ask yourself. Are they hurting anyone? Are they hurting anything? And if the answer to that is no, let them work through it. Let them find their own technique. And I'm talking about all things that children will do. So with those 4 things in mind, remember those 4 things. Get over it. Children are not going to be neat and tidy. They're washable. Number 2, you are not an entertainer. Children need to be bored. Number 3, it's not going to be perfect. And number 4, there are many, many, many ways to do it right. So keep all of that in mind with your children. Also, so important, back to that one where children need to be bored. And I just read this. I don't remember what article, who the author was, but a real healthy child does not need constant encouragement from a parent. A healthy child should be able to go about 30 minutes without even worrying about where you're at.
Wow.
So if your child is constantly looking for your encouragement, your validation, all those things, you want to try to work on that.
Okay.
And put it right back at them. So if they're like, Mommy, look at me. Stop saying, oh, yeah, I see. Good job. Stop doing the good jobs. Start just repeating what you're seeing them. Yep. I talked about that in that first
So how
podcast.
do we affirm them but not say good job?
State what they're doing. So say your child has built this tower. Mommy, look at my tower. Yes, that tower is taller than you. You worked really hard on that tower. Just state the facts and try to state them in just a calm voice, not a, whoa, oh my gosh, that's the most amazing, you're the best ever. Just keep it mellow, keep it low key, like, wow, yeah, that is a tall tower. You worked really hard on that tower. And look, you didn't give up. Point out all those really good, important skills that they've used aside from just that good job. Does that make sense?
What is the danger of saying good job over and over?
It's addicting. And children will constantly need that validation. And what happens then is, your child gets into the junior high years. Well, nobody's noticing me. Well, then all of a sudden the shirts become more low cut. The shorts become shorter until somebody notices. If there's all kinds
totally sold.
Right? Yeah.
If it prevents a miniskirt scene with my 3 girls, I'm sold.
There you go. Always, you want your child to be confident on what they think of themselves, not what others think of them. You want your child to be content with, I think I did a good job. Not, I want to please this person. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And it starts with those, just good job. It's very addicting. It feels good to hear that, and there's other ways to also validate what your child is doing without just giving them that good feeling, good job. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, total. Oh, that's super helpful. Yeah, because I can see Rosalind today was coloring, and I think I have one thing that mine do. They could leave me alone for 30 minutes. They're pretty good about finding whatever they want. But I do have one child that's very like, Mommy, look at this. And I find myself, yep, I see it. I like the color purple you used. Because I learned from the first episode to do that. And then my twin sister is also a junior kindergarten teacher, and she says all the time, don't say good job. Find something else to say other than good job. Like, hey, I see that you tried to do the lines a little whatever.
Have you noticed a difference?
Well, that was 4 months ago, yeah, there's longer in between. They'll color for longer without coming back for another sheet to try and impress me more over the first sheet. So there's that.
Okay. So you're noticing little changes. Good.
Yeah, and they hang them up themselves. Like they don't say, Mommy, get the tape, and then we have to stand there and look at this art gallery piece. Now they just hang them up, and I may not even notice them, and they're okay with that.
Okay, so, good. So they're hanging for their own enjoyment.
How would I do this when they're playing? They say they want to copy each other. So Ivy is 7, Rosalind is 5, and she'll say, I want the same thing as Ivy, and why are you copying me? And she'll say, Mommy, Ivy doesn't like mine. And what I've been doing, and I don't know if this is right, is I say, well, do you like it? Mm-hmm. She says, yeah, I like it. Well, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if Ivy likes it or not.
And then what I always point out to the child that is being copied, I'll whisper in their ear, and I'm like, did you know that's a really, really, really big compliment? She likes so much what you did that she wants to do the exact same thing as you. That's a compliment, not a bad thing. Yeah. So that's how I handle, right or wrong, I don't know, but that's how I handle that situation, pretty much. Yep.
Okay, so you were telling us a little bit about allowing them to be bored, but your first one was kids are washable. What are some toys in the winter that we can play inside that are messy that we just need to get over?
First of all, get the term toys out of your mind, and if you really want to wow your children, put materials out that aren't traditional toys. So you're going to find your materials not at toy stores, not under toys in Amazon. A lot of the things I'm going to suggest to you come from grocery stores and Menards or Home Depot. So the first one, and this one takes a lot of bravery, especially if you fall into the category of anti-messy. And if you do, I don't want you feeling bad and awful. The majority of people do. We just do. People are anti-messy, but when you stop and take a deep breath and you realize that this is all going to clean up and that these moments are not going to last. I kid you not. It is a blink of the eye and your children will be graduating. So embrace these moments. But one of my favorite things to do with my play schoolers is just set random ingredients out. You know, our society is so hooked on Pinterest and finding ideas and copying them and making our children do exactly what we saw on Pinterest. No, let your children be the ones to create. You know, somebody who shares a recipe on Pinterest invented that recipe. Let your children be the ones that invent these things. Let your children be the ones that own those discoveries. It's so empowering to make discoveries and invent something new. So I will set out, any random combination of baking soda, flour, cornstarch, water, vinegar, and I add the coloring, again, the liquid watercolor from Discount School Supply. So it's like food coloring, but it is not food coloring. It comes in a much bigger bottle, so it's way more economical. And it is completely washable. Will it stain hands a little bit? Yeah, of course it's going to stain hands a little bit, but it'll eventually wash off. But this stuff is a great product. It's not going to damage anything. And the discoveries that can be made, if you go to my Play Count Facebook page, you'll see oodles and oodles. I've posted loads of videos and photos from my program. One recently that I did as I set out in a shallow, like a brownie pan. I poured baking soda in one. I poured cornstarch in the other. So they look identical, right? Both white powders. I then filled some cups with colored vinegar. I filled some cups with colored water. Now, in my program, I use the paint cups that have the no-spill lids on them. Okay. So you can easily get those. Discount School Supply, where I'm sending you for the liquid watercolor, also has those, very inexpensive. And that, because so many people are like, yeah, my kids are just going to dump it. Well, if your kids are dumping it, follow their lead. They're wanting to dump. So find them a way that they can dump. Maybe not with the colored vinegar today, but get out buckets of water and let them dump, right? So follow their lead if they seem to be wanting to dump. But if you put these lids on them, that gives them that boundary. And then you're going to want to use like pipettes you can get from, go to Lewis and just ask the pharmacist if you can get some medicine droppers. Those work. Anything like that. And let them transport that colored vinegar and the colored water into these 2 pans of powder and wait for them to make the discovery of how they are different. For those of you that don't know, which I'm surprised there are a lot of people out there that don't know.
I don't know. I'm waiting in anticipation.
When you put vinegar on baking soda, it fizzes. Okay? If you add a little bit of soap to that vinegar, and I'm talking just 1 squeeze of the Dawn dish soap into that colored vinegar, that fizz will become more like a foam paste reaction. It'll just foam up really thick. So that's super fun. When you add water or the vinegar to the cornstarch, it's going to make goop. Some people call it oobleck. That's that substance that looks like it's a liquid, but when you pick it up, it's a solid. I don't know if have you ever made that, Rebekah, with your girls?
Oh, no, I'm totally newbie here.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so cornstarch and water, oh, my gosh, is so much fun. But let them just own the discoveries of these. Colored water, colored vinegar, and just let them make the discoveries. It is phenomenal. And like I said, there's a video on
winter afternoon fun.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if you just breathe and let go. Here's the magic. Cornstarch and water, when your kids are all done, it washes up, no problem. Or if it dries on them, turns into a powder, you just brush it away. So simple. It's epic, messy while they're playing with it, but just breathe. It cleans up super, super, super easy. Baking soda also very, very easy to clean up. Now, if you have a dining room table or kitchen table that's wood stained, I would protect it. Just buy a plastic tablecloth. Those fuzzy back plastic tablecloths are a little more durable than just a plain old plastic one. They'll protect it, but
the picnic ones that you can even get those at Walmart now in a roll.
Yes, yes. So protect your table because I'm pretty sure the vinegar would not be good for a wood service. But so that's one idea. Then if you've got little bakers and they love doing this stuff, put out flour, put out seasonings, put out some water, let them mix to their heart's content. See what happens. I did this also with my play scores. I had a group last year that just gobbled this stuff up. They loved mixing. And so I bought the super inexpensive seasonings at Walmart. They're 98 cents for a great big bottle. And I got basil, oregano, garlic, paprika, and then they had a little salt grinder too that was like 98 cents. So I got those things, set it out with flour and water, and just let them explore. All of a sudden, I hear, "Oh, Denita, I made a dough. This stuff will make a dough. You guys, this makes a dough." Well, then they all start making doughs, and they're adding more and more and more seasonings to it. And one child goes, "Denita, we could bake this." I looked at him, I'm like, "We sure could." So when that happens, 350. You set the oven to 350 because you can't hurt anything at 350. So 350, I set the oven, and they needed rolling pins, and they needed cookie cutters. And that's the other thing is, maybe don't give your children everything they need. Give them that opportunity to ask for more. Give their imaginations an opportunity to go, hey, we could add this to what we're doing now. So they asked for rolling pins and cookie cutters. So they were making all different shaped biscuits, basically, is what they made. Put them on a pan, baked them. They were so excited. Well, guess what was the biggest hit? The salt grinder.
Oh.
So guess what these biscuits were?
Ooh.
They're so bad. They're so awful. They took a bite. They're like, mine's salty too. And then the one child who suggested baking in the first place said, "Denita, can we do it again? But this time we learn not to use so much salt." I'm like, "Sure, do it again." So they kept learning different things, and eventually they made these really good, like Italian breadsticks, is what they tasted like. So just put random ingredients out and let your children mix. Next idea is your block play. If you have children who love to play or love to build, who says block play has to be just blocks? But, think outside the box for your block play. Go to the Dollar Tree. I was at the Dollar Tree. They were putting out plastic planters that are about, I don't know, they're maybe 8 inches tall. The poor gal just filled the shelf, and I came through and wiped her out. I bought about 25 of these planters, but a $25 building kit, those are awesome to build with. Cups are awesome to build with. So think outside the box with what materials you're supplying your child with, and let them build with just really, really random materials. So that's my next idea for you. The next one is to go dumpster diving. Carl's, if you're from Sioux Falls or the Sioux Falls, South Dakota area, and in any area that you're from, just call appliance stores, call your Sears, your JCPenney's, probably not JCPenney's, but any place that sells appliances, and ask them how you can get your hands on some appliance boxes. Carl's in Sioux Falls, they just invite you to come and dumpster dive in their dumpsters.
Oh, wow.
So they have cardboard-only dumpsters, and you just pull up on the backside of Carl's, and you have all the building materials. I mean, your child could build Cardboard Central. Also, shoot, I don't remember what they're called, Rebekah, but you can get nails for cardboard.
Oh.
So just, I know I got them on Amazon. I wonder if you could just Google.
Oh my gosh, Iverson would
cardboard box building. Yeah, but they're these plastic nails that you can essentially then build with cardboard boxes and connect them with these nails. Okay. Otherwise, you guys, packaging tape, duct tape works really, really great. But all kinds of boxes. Give your children boxes and boxes and boxes. It is so true. What is that saying? That instead of buying them presents, they'd rather play with the boxes and the paper when they're babies. But it's true all the way through the ages. If you give your child boxes and freedom and time and trust, the things that they'll do with those boxes will absolutely amaze you. So that's another one of my ideas. This one is really out there, but trust me on it. Just play outside. Go outside. Yeah, go outside. Let them go outside. Snow is amazing. And there's going to be that level of boredom first before they figure out what to do. And I don't know, Rebekah, what was winter like when you grew up?
Oh, blast. I couldn't wait for winter. I don't remember getting bored, but I grew up on a ranch, and so we could roam as far as we wanted. And we actually had hills, so it was really fun.
Yes. And we had so much more snow when I was little.
That's what I remember, too.
As much snow, I don't think. And I don't know if it's because I was littler, so it seemed like more snow. But I grew up on a farm, and we had all kinds of interesting nooks and crannies where snow would get blown in and make different creations to play. And it would be rock hard snow. Oh, and I just remember, hours upon hours playing outside. And when it comes to that, you need to fuel your children with the right foods. That plays a huge part in keeping them warm. So I don't know the specifics, but I encourage you to Google foods, foods that keep you warm. Just Google it and find out what you find. And the reason I know this is I have had conversations with people in Canada that run forest schools. And forest schools are all outdoors. So even in the winter months, they're outside. And this teacher said the key is educating my families what to feed their children. And I remember her saying carrots were a good one, that they're hard to digest, and therefore they heat the body. So that's just a little tidbit for you. Okay. Yeah. And then the final thing, just keep it random. Surprise them. Just really random materials. I said I'd mention Menards, PVC pipes. Yes. Plastic rain gutters. There's loads children can do with those materials. Shop vac. The shop vac, yep. Another one of my all-time favorites. And, for ear's sake, make sure you have a smaller shop vac. My son just turned 18, and I put paper over his doorway and filled it with the what is it called? Beanbag stuffing and shredded paper. So when he opened his door, all that fell into his room. And it was a big mess to clean up, but it was so worth it. Oh my gosh, that sound with all that was pouring on top of him. Anyway, we brought in the outdoor shop vac, and holy buckets, that thing is loud. Where the one that I use in my play school is much, much quieter. So I have just a little 6-gallon, I think it's a 3-horsepower, 3.5 horsepower shop vac. So I want to add that to my shop vac recommendation, is that make sure you have a smaller one. That's a good idea. Play with it. But the shop vac, you guys, one that blows and sucks, if you did not listen to that last episode. And just let them, tissue paper pieces, paper towel pieces, streamers. Oh my gosh, so much fun. Ping pong balls will just launch across the living room, and they're not going to hurt anything.
Exactly. So, thank you again, Denita Dinger, for joining us today and giving us so many awesome ideas. I'm glad it's still March, so in the Midwest, we've probably got another 6 weeks of figuring out some of the things. But you obviously gave us some ideas for outside, too, so I appreciate you being on. Thank you so much, Denita, and until next time, we got this, Encouragers.
Hey, Encouragers, the book is printed and it's ready to get into your arms. It's called Equipped to Execute, Guiding Moms to Joyfully Impact Family and Business. I tell you, this book, labor of love, it's a super quick read. You could probably read it in a couple hours or so, but it's really helpful to kind of get that momentum going. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you've had the scene where you're crying because there's no way you can meet all the roles in your life, I have been there. I've so been there, but I'm not there anymore. And I know how you can get out of that slump and start executing on all the things that God has equipped you to do. You can pick up the book at equippedtoexecute.com, also on my website at shoprsd.com, and it's also available on Amazon. So check out those sites. And also, side note, I just recorded the audio version, so you'll be able to listen to this on your way to work. Even with the audio version, though, I highly suggest buying it. It's $20 because you treat it as a workbook. I've got 5 questions at the end of each chapter to help you with starting that business or continue with that business with much more success and much more clarity on how to raise your family and your business at the same time. We got this, Encouragers. Thank you for tuning in, Encouragers. Remember to subscribe so it's automatically on your phone. We got this, Encouragers.